Yo, welcome into another episode of Between the Hedges. Happy to have my full cast of co-hosts with me tonight again, and just wanted to start briefly by giving everybody an update on my dog Athena. She did get to come home last night with some medication, so for those of you who had her in your thoughts and prayers, thank you so much. She's doing pretty well, just having to administer some medicine, and she's on the road to recovery now. So, um, but anyway, that is great news on this end. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. What a day.
What a
What
I'm doing
day.
a
pretty good.
day. This one's we got the big news today. No doubt about it.
The biggest.
Probably shocking to majority of the world, if not the whole world.
I mean, we all figured it was coming, we just didn't know when. I don't think any of us thought it was going to be this soon, but Nick Saban is retiring and leaving the University of Alabama.
I thought he still was going to coach for another 2, 3, maybe 4 years. He said, "Nah, not today."
He said, "I'm out."
Yeah, it just you know, cements the whole, the dynasty didn't go 3 years without a championship. Well, that officially happened this year, and they're gonna go, especially this iteration of it under Nick Saban, it officially leaves with him. I don't, I mean, we'll get into this a little bit more. I don't see how it continues as such. I mean, everything changes at some point. Nothing stays the same forever. We've even seen that the last 3 years of the Alabama dynasty. I mean, like I just said, they've haven't won a championship since 2020, and that was a COVID year where they had some of the more lenient guidelines around their program, allowing them to practice more than anybody. So it made sense that they were the best team in 2020.
Yeah,
Plus,
2020 was just a weird year all the way around for all
Yeah.
sports. I mean, games getting canceled, you know, not having fans in the stands or a very, very limited number of fans, you
yep.
know. So, I mean, yeah, you really almost put, I mean, yeah, they won it. Can't take it away from them, but you almost put a little asterisk by that one because of all the outside circumstances.
Yeah, no doubt. And I, just to finish my thought too before that, they just they practiced more, so they were better, but they also had probably the best collection of talent that year, regardless. Um, I mean, Ohio State was probably second or third, Georgia was second or third, so it's like it was going to be one of those teams anyway. And all of those teams found a way to be more polished and practice more than other teams around the country. Um, so yeah, the retirement of the greatest coach of all time, especially for the NCAA, but I mean he's up there in the argument for all American football coaches, uh, college or pro. What do you guys think about
Yeah,
that?
I don't know that I agree with that.
No?
He had his time in the pros and it wasn't pretty. I'll give you college. College, he's the man. He is the man. And, it'll be interesting to see if anybody ever approaches some of his records with national championships and such. But yeah, I can't go so far as to say the pros. His stint at the Dolphins was not a pretty thing.
Matthew?
He is the greatest college head coach for sure. I mean, I kind of would piggyback on Dad on that part. He was not the greatest. That's why he went to college after his Dolphin stretch. Um, but I mean, with his to be at one college his whole career is
He
pretty.
wasn't.
He wasn't. Where was he
No,
before?
No, he was at several other colleges
Or
before.
he was at my what other colleges?
He was at,
Miami too.
he won a national championship with LSU
yep.
I am. That's
before
right.
going to the Dolphins. He was at
But
I want to say Michigan State.
Michigan
Okay.
State.
I'm glad you
Well,
asked. I got the full list. So
Here you
his
go.
coaching career started in 1990 at Toledo,
I
where he
wasn't
just
even a
had,
thought.
okay, he had one season there. Um, Neither one of us were a thought. Dad was still in high school.
Woohoo!
I
So
was. That is true story. I was in high school.
they went 9-2. He only had one season there at
I was
Toledo.
only 16 years old then.
Yeah. So that just goes
Just
to show
got my
you,
driver's license.
yeah,
Woohoo!
that shows you how old Nick Saban is and how long he's been playing. And I was gonna get to that. I wasn't as shocked to see this today. It's big news, but dude's been around a long time.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that was my point. We all figured because of his age, being 72 years old, and
72.
how long he's been at Alabama, he wasn't going to leave Alabama and go to another program, to start again. He had that humming. So whenever he hung up the cleats or his whistle, whichever one you want to say, it was going to be at Alabama. He was going to be done there. Um, so it's just the shock comes from
the
being
timing.
right now,
Yeah.
today. That's the shock. It's here. We've talked about it, I think, for the last 3 years, maybe. People have wondered, okay, when's Nick Saban going to retire? He's getting he's getting older. He's going to want to slow down, blah, blah, blah. He's going to want to enjoy the 10 million plus dollars that he's earned every year for the last however many years it's been, um, with
Probably about
Alabama.
probably about
At
10
least
years
six or
now.
seven. Yeah, at least. So, I mean, quick math is about $100 million he's got in his bank account that he can go off into the sunset and enjoy.
Yeah.
So we don't feel sorry for Nick Saban at all.
No, he's
No.
gonna
And
have
I
a good
definitely don't feel
retirement.
sorry for the University of Alabama.
Neither do I.
Not a bit. Just like they're
Well,
not going to feel sorry when we announce one day that Kirby Smart's retiring.
yeah.
Sure.
So back to Saban's coaching path. After the one season in 90 with Toledo, he took a little bit of a break there, and in 95 he took the Michigan State job. So after 9-2 at one season at Toledo, at Michigan State, he went 34, 24, and 1. So he had a winning record there. Left there in 99. And in 2000, that was when he took the LSU job. Like we mentioned, goes on to win a national championship in 4 seasons there, went 48-16. Then he had the one stint, or I mean, two seasons at the Dolphins, um, in 05 and 06. He went 15-17. That's the only stop where he's ever had a losing record. So yeah, like Dad said, that's the one chink in the armor for his legacy. But I'll argue that that gets forgotten with time because of what I'm about to say. From 2007, when he took the job at Alabama, till today, he won a total of 201 games and he lost 29. It's like
Wow.
above an 80% win percentage. Um, he had 6 national championships in 16 seasons, and his 201 wins are second, tied for second all time with, guess who also won 201 games as his time as a head coach?
Vince Dooley.
Vince Dooley at Georgia. So they're both tied for the second most wins at a single school in SEC history, only behind Bear Bryant, who won 232 games in 25 seasons, though. So Saban had 8 less seasons, and he was 21 or 31 less 31 wins from reaching Bear Bryant.
Yeah, but you got to understand the context too. Back when Bear Bryant was coaching and Vince Dooley, a full season was 8 games and then 10 games. Now to win a national championship, you got to win. You've got to play in 15 games, and
And
it'll
next
be
Even
year,
more.
yeah. Next year will be even more than that.
It'll be
So
17 or 18.
one season now is equal to about 2 seasons previously with the old coaches from that era. Basically, you have 8 and 10 game seasons on their records. So it's a little bit different in that aspect. You
it's a
wonder
very good point.
if Bear Bryant's teams played 10, 12 regular season games and plus bowl games and stuff like that, how many more games he would have won.
Well,
I
the
mean, it probably
parity,
would have added up very quickly.
yeah, the
I
parity
mean,
definitely wasn't there in college football. They
that's
were,
my point. He was there's an uh 85 scholarship limit because of him and the shenanigans he pulled, keeping players away from his competition. So,
yeah, we want to hate Jim Harbaugh in Michigan or, you know, Penn State, or, anybody in the modern era that since 2000 that's gotten in a lot of trouble and forfeited wins. But Bear Bryant is the inventor of shenanigans at the college football level.
well, it all goes back to if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yep.
You're only
So,
cheating if you get caught.
well, seems like Michigan got caught. We're waiting to hear about that, but we'll get into that a little bit
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
I got some more to say
You
about
got some
that.
more Saban nuggets?
Yeah, a couple more Saban nuggets. He racked up a total of 292 wins, 71 losses, and one tie, just that one tie at Michigan State. And that ranks him sixth all time in the FBS in wins and 12th in NCAA college football
Okay.
history.
Can you see who the top 5 are there? Or does it say?
Let's see.
Bear Bryant's one of them.
Yeah, the Bears got to be one.
I was just curious if it listed. If it didn't list them, whatever you were looking at, I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm pulling from this very extensive ESPN article that they put out as soon as this was announced. But it's not showing.
I doubt they list the top 5. That would be something to research and get back to us.
Yeah,
That would be interesting to know because I mean you would probably win some bets if you said where does Nick Saban place on the all-time wins per coach? Most people would say higher than 6, I would imagine these days. They would think he would come in higher than 6th. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
I just want to put this out there. It's just a random thing. Mississippi State just beat Tennessee in basketball.
No way.
77-72.
Good
It
old
is
Rocky
final.
Top.
Oh, this week has been tough on top ranked basketball teams. Last night, the number
Mm-hmm.
1 and number 2 teams both lost to unranked
Purdue
opponents.
lost?
Yes, Purdue
To
and
who?
Houston both lost. Purdue lost to who was it? Was it Nebraska?
Oh,
Hold
wow.
on. Hold
And
on.
Houston lost to Iowa State, I want to say.
I think I saw that
Houston
one.
lost to Iowa State. Yeah.
And I
Um,
think Nebraska upset Purdue because they're both Big Ten, right?
Mm-hmm. It's not
So,
even March yet. Why are we having upsets here?
well, all right. Anyway, let's get back on task here. We're talking
Sorry,
about Nick Saban.
I just had to put that out there because
That's funny.
well,
stupid Rocky Top.
they're getting what
Couldn't
they deserve.
couldn't happen to a better school. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Another nugget here. There's so many like just crazy, like all of these nuggets that we're talking about, just snapshots, stats of Nick Saban's career are gonna end up being in trivia nights for years to come. But um, he also coached Alabama's um, first four Heisman Trophy winners. So nobody had won the
All right.
Heisman.
Nobody had won the Heisman before Nick Saban was the coach there. Nobody.
Right.
That's hard to
That's
believe with all the players that they've had for so long. Um, and, with some of the dominant teams that they had in the past, that nobody ever won the Heisman for Alabama
Yep.
until y'all's lifetime.
Yeah. Very recent. Um, the last
Since
being,
2007, which is when he
yeah,
started there, they've won 4. But before that, they've won 0.
the last being Devontae Smith, or is that his name
yeah,
for the
Devontae Smith.
Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then so under him they had three players selected in the hold on. So he also, under his watch, Nick Saban guided um, his team to the first, having their first number one overall pick. Sorry, I don't know why I'm struggling with this. And Bryce Young's in the common draft era. So he's had a total of 49 first rounders um, under his watch, out including all of the schools that he's coached at. 44 of those 49 were at Alabama. But Alabama had not had a number one overall pick until Bryce Young last year. So another
Wow.
crazy stat there. Um, and in the ESPN 300 era, where they've rated they rank the top 300 recruits every year. So since 2006, just before Saban got to Alabama, no coach has had more number one recruiting classes than Saban, who boasted 8 of the 18 number one overall classes during that span, despite not taking over at Alabama until 2007, like I said. No other head coach has had more than three, and that's now Kirby. Kirby's had three. So
And more
again,
to come.
yeah, more to come there. I'd be interested to see if Kirby gets to 8. We'll see. It's definitely possible, but a lot of these things, I don't know if they get touched for a while. Um,
Right. And
Kirby's
that's the
gonna
reason why
have,
you call him the GOAT, because he's done things that most, if not, if any, other coaches have done. I mean,
it
then 7 national titles is absurd.
is.
It's absurd. I mean, Kirby now has 2.
He's the only one that has a legitimate shot of reaching him among active FBS coaches.
Well,
Yeah,
Dabo still has two.
Dabo's got two, but his program seems to be hinging on a potential decline.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
see.
No
see.
bueno.
So yeah, I guess, but I'm talking about stacking up recruiting classes and
Mhm.
stacking up championships, and sending players to the draft. All of that Kirby has going for him already, and it's going in the right direction. Dabo's kind of taking a step back a little bit, so we'll see if he can right the ship and get it back going. I think he can. I think now either Dabo takes the Alabama job or he stays at Clemson and he now finds the opportunity to go head to head in the South with Kirby and not have to face Nick Saban, anymore. So if I'm Dabo though, you don't want to follow the man. So I
No,
don't I don't know that I don't anybody that's being thrown out to take that job, I run from it.
well, I mean that's the initial thought. Yes, is that you don't want to be the coach following the goat. But I will say he's got that program set up so well that you might actually get some guys considering doing it, just continuing what he's already started, just on the coattails, so to speak. But who knows? I'm kind of like you. I don't know that I would want to be the one following him.
No. And the names being thrown out there are, they're deserving because this shows you how much uh success they're having. Dan Lanning, um, Dabo,
Lane Kiffin,
Lane Kiffin, uh,
Sarkeesian.
Sark, because he's already been in Alabama, he understands the culture. Uh, Same thing with Kiffin. So anybody that worked for or with Nick Saban, other than Kirby, which I thought we would start hearing his name a lot more because Alabama, I know the fans and the alumni and everyone around that school wants to see Nick, Alabama follow Nick Saban with his protege, right? But I,
I think I wouldn't doubt that Alabama would try at least talk to Kirby Smart. I don't think he'll take it, but they'll definitely be like, "Hey, here you go."
Well, they wouldn't be doing
Uh,
their due diligence if they didn't at least
try.
reach out. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
they're gonna
stupid
try.
if you don't make that call and try.
Yeah,
I don't think Kirby ultimately wants it or takes it because he's where he wants to be in his heart.
I don't even know if he takes the call,
But
yeah,
to
that
he
be
just,
don't
honest.
even
He
answer.
might out of respect because he worked there so long.
I
You
Yeah,
mean,
know,
he respects.
he might talk to the AD over there and say, "Hey, I appreciate you, thinking of me, but I'm like you said, I'm where I want to be right now. I've got
yeah,
this built the way I want it and doing things that, and I'm excited where we're headed and what we're doing, and I just want to see it through."
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, out of
me
those
too.
names, my first instinct is to possibly say Lanning's probably the number one option out of those names. I think because I think he coached there before with Kirby and
Yeah,
with Nick Saban, if I'm not mistaken. When we hired Kirby, he came over with Kirby, if I'm not
yeah, he
mistaken,
did.
from Alabama. So, I mean, there is some history there. He's done really well in his 2 seasons at Oregon. Um, and he's almost got them built like an SEC team playing in the Pac-12, which will now be in the Big Ten. But um, I honestly think he may be the first option, and I don't think it's going to be long before we hear
Who?
um, who it is. I think they've got to get out in front of it and make it known, because now, because of the rules and everything, Alabama's current players and their prospects that they just signed in this 2024 class, guess what? They have a 30-day window where they can jump in the portal because their coach left.
Yeah.
So in today's wild, wild west world of college recruitments and all that stuff, it's open season on the Alabama roster. Their current players and their signees that they just um, you know that just joined the program, and they don't even get coached by Nick Saban unless they were there for the bowl practices and stuff. Early enrollees, they're getting a new coach right off the bat, so they get a chance to leave if they want to leave.
My main thing, because I had a couple of my friends call me earlier about this, and I asked them, I was like, "What does Milrow do now? Does he stay or does he go?
Well, I
Depending on
think
what
he's got a
who the
decision.
coach is."
That's exactly right. It depends. Let's see, there's only a 30-day window. So to do right by, so some of those kids, I say kids, they're y'all's age and y'all are my kids. But
Just
anyway,
say young adults.
so those kids will have a chance to make a good decision. Hopefully they do get a decision made soon, so these guys know which way they want to go. Um, you know, I don't know if you guys want to, but I mean, that kind of leads into the Georgia angle of this. The players that are on Alabama that might have some interest in coming to Georgia, or Georgia might have some interest in knocking on their door, hitting them up on their phone and saying, "Hey, we got a spot over here for you. You want to get in with the new king of the hill, so to speak."
Odds-on favorite to open the early odds favorite to win the national championship next season. Um,
So looking over their players, some of the guys that you would think might have some interest in coming to Georgia, and Georgia probably would have some interest in them. Caleb Downs, the safety. He was a
mhm.
freshman this year. Georgia highly recruited him, tried to get him to come originally, and I think he was all conference, if I'm not mistaken, but all SEC. But anyway, I know he was probably, at least, if nothing else, all freshman team. He had a really good season. Their running back, Justice Haynes, that would be somebody that we would have interest in, I would think. Um, Isaiah Bond, he's a wide receiver. He was their leading wide receiver this past season. I think Georgia would entertain adding another wide receiver into the fold. And with the recent saga with the quarterback, is he coming? Is he not? And the one from UNLV, he committed and then he decommitted, and it's kind of up in the air whether he's going to go with us or USC. Their quarterback, Dylan Logergan, I think I'm saying it right. He would be somebody, because I know Kirby has come out publicly and stated that he wants a fourth scholarship QB, and right now we've only got three on our roster. Those are just some of the ones, and a couple of linemen, tackles, I believe, Terrace Ferguson and Caden Proctor. If they jumped in the portal, those would be guys that Georgia would be interested in. Those are the current players. So it will be, like I said, it'll be open season on those guys, and then also the commits, the new signees that haven't even really, they may just have started their first semester if they were early enrollees.
We will see. My main curiosity is Milrow, what he's gonna do.
It,
Um,
it's like Dad said, it all depends on the coach. You've got to have as a quarterback these days, you've got to have a coach that believes in you. And if the guy that comes in shares the opinion of what everybody shared the first half of the season, um, of Milrow, then Milrow's going to go somewhere else. If they have the opinion that okay, what we saw the last 5, 6 games of the season, that's the Milrow that that we have now. I think he stays, but it all depends on who the coach is. Because I mean, Dan Lanning, if he leaves, he's been recruiting the heck out of some quarterbacks to Oregon. He got Dylan Gabriel, and then he took didn't they also get
Well, I mean, that's how I got
UCLA's?
Bo Nix.
Yeah.
You got Bo Nix first.
So do those guys like if he takes the Alabama job, do those guys follow him? I mean, it's just
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a domino effect, is what it's going to be because,
mhm.
Alabama's lost their coach, so they all their players get a chance to go a 30-day window in the portal. If Lanning gets hired and goes to Alabama, then guess what? The Oregon team does the same exact thing because they've lost their coach, and then whoever Oregon hires, that team, same thing. If he's already an established coach somewhere, which I'm sure they would get somebody that is already coaching somewhere. I don't think they would go for somebody that wasn't ever a college football coach before or something like that. So, it'll be an interesting thing to watch the domino effect that comes from Saban retiring and leaving Alabama.
he
I
he's
agree.
definitely a legend. And as a just a competitor, you want to face the best, right? So he will be missed by his colleagues, his peers who enjoyed they all may not have enjoyed losing to him, but they enjoyed trying to beat him every year. And he made it a
Oh man,
challenge.
it definitely ultimate respect for who he was as a person, who he is as a person and a coach. Not was, he's not past, but he's passed as the coach. But um anyway, I mean, yeah, ultimate respect for what he's accomplished. I mean,
So
my gosh, talking about a career, that's one for the storybooks. So yeah, definitely. I agree with that point. Much respected by everybody in the business.
And you asked about who are the ones ahead of him in wins. Um,
The
John
top
Gagliardi with 489, Joe Paterno with 409,
Joe Pa. That's right.
Eddie Robinson with 408, Bobby Bowden with 377. And I'm having trouble finding the fifth and final one ahead of him.
How many total wins did you say Saban had between all
Two
his?
292.
So just under 300. Gotcha.
Yep, and there's just a short list of ones over 200.
I would
Um,
venture a guess that other than Bobby Bowden, you guys probably have never even heard of any of those other guys, have you?
I
not a clue.
Do you recognize Bobby Bowden's name?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno. I also
Okay, all
had
right.
heard of Eddie Robinson.
You don't know much about Eddie Robinson because he coached at Grambling,
Right.
which is
Okay.
that's where he was. I mean, he was there forever and was very, very successful there, obviously, with that many wins.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know Bobby Bowden. I don't doesn't ring a bell with Petrino,
Joe
is that who you
Joe
said?
Paterno.
Paterno. Yeah, no.
He was the coach forever at Penn State. That was his main. Uh,
Wait,
Here we go.
Joe
So
Paterno.
I think I know. Yeah, the old guy.
Well,
The
by the
old
time you
guy.
knew him, yeah, he was an old guy
Yeah. Yeah, at the time.
towards the
Yeah.
end of his career. Yes,
Okay.
that
Now it's
big
right
old
though.
thick glasses that he
That's
wore.
right. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
yeah,
an
that
old
was
guy.
the old
The old
guy.
guy.
They're all old guys when
Um
they get to that many wins.
Yeah,
right.
Lord.
You
If
got to
you
be
win,
around for a long time to get 400 wins.
In college.
I think
Hmm.
Pop Warner was the other one ahead of Nick Saban. I know
That makes sense.
it's kind of, I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to find a consensus list because some people take vacated wins out, some include them. So, in any order, Nick Saban's one of the top 10 winningest coaches of all time, and he's really, really close to top five. Um,
And when you take national championships, I don't know that he's anywhere but first, right?
he's number one. Bear
So
Bryant had six.
when it counts where it counts the most,
He's got it.
he's not looking up at anybody right now.
He's looking around.
Ring
So
heavy, baby.
so that's a good place to wrap up the Saban coverage for today, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to puke talking Alabama so much, you know. My stomach is kind of queasy.
Hey,
I mean, I know you got to do it because of who he is and what he's done, but you know, can't say that I'm sorry to see him leave as a Georgia fan. And I think there are plenty of other teams out there that are and fans of those teams and coaches of those teams that are probably glad, you know, even though they won't verbalize it, they're probably sitting there thinking, yes, thank God he's
No,
gone.
I know Old Miss fans are happy.
Well, they may not be because they may lose their coach. Lane
yeah.
Kiffin may be the one going to Alabama.
Nah, I don't think he'll leave.
Who knows?
Hey,
We'll find out shortly.
But anything's possible.
mo
Anything is possible.
money talks. And Alabama's got money and they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at somebody so that they don't take a big step back.
Right. Believe me, Alabama wants to do everything they can to stay right where they are, regardless of who's coaching their team right now, you know, going forward.
I,
They want to stay where they are. So they're going to try.
Which
I would take Dan.
I'd throw
I don't think
Everything.
any of those guys would be bad choices. I mean,
Mm,
they talked to
Lane
Kirby,
Kiffin's iffy.
Lane Kiffin. You know, you're Alabama. You can call up anybody you want and say, "Hey, we got an opening. We want you to fill." And just about
I
everybody's going to
choose
listen to
you.
that. They're going to listen to that conversation because of who's calling. You know,
Mhm.
Sarkeesian, Lane Kiffin, Dan Lanning, Dabo,
I'll be the
shoot,
coach.
even Kirby. You know, they're going to listen to what they have to say.
They should hit me
So,
up. I'll be the coach.
yeah, I don't think that'll happen. Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Well, it would be nice, but it's, you know, not going to happen.
Hey, anything's possible.
No, that's not possible. So you're wrong.
Oh, come on.
That's
Anything's
not
possible.
possible. That's not.
I
Hmm.
You
think we led with it it's gonna be an experienced coach. So if you've never coached a lick in your life before at the
I've
college
had, I've,
level,
well, not college level. I have,
Okay, there you go.
okay. Eh,
I have in
You lose. You're
high
done.
school, high school level. Yeah.
you suck again.
Oh no, we suck again.
You're di
Anyways,
you're disqualified at that point. Um, but
So
yeah, all the
on
all the all the best to Nick in retirement. Go enjoy it. Sit on that fat stack of cash that you've accumulated, and
Over on Lake Oconee, right? That's where he's got a place, isn't it?
I think he,
somewhere.
I think he
I think it's
does.
over here in Lake Oconee.
He's got a couple of places, but yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them over here. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw him a little
I'm
more.
just glad when Georgia plays Alabama next August, I think it is. He's
Mhm.
not going to be on that sideline.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
it definitely helps. So, um, let's let's transition now. So,
Oh, there was a game Monday night, right?
yeah, there was a big game Monday night
I
that,
don't know. I don't know if it qualifies as a big game. There was a game.
well,
It was a good
a,
game.
a champion was crowned in college football. Okay, so
For
Yeah, it was a good game.
for now, a
well,
champion was crowned.
so I think we all wanted Washington to take care of business so that we don't have to say a champion was crowned, right? But as of right now, Michigan put a beating on Washington. Um,
Washington got on.
yeah,
Yeah, they
they
did.
It
it
was bad.
it it got away from them. I won't say it was bad.
No, it just got away
No,
really quick. I
Penix
agree.
sucked.
We said going into it when we did our preview, he had to play like he did against Texas, where Texas, I mean, gosh, dude was on
Hmm.
target, on the money. He threw some passes that you were just like, damn,
Hmm.
you
He
know?
and he was
And
throwing
then
passes
this
at
time you're
Monday
like,
where it was
oh
like,
my God, what are
dang.
you doing?
Yeah,
On
it went from,
He was looking like Stetson Bennett out there, overthrowing all his receivers.
oh no, no,
oh
no,
no, here
no,
we
no,
go.
no.
Yeah,
Here we go.
here we
Yes.
go. No,
So
see, if he was throwing like Stetson Bennett,
he would
he'd
have
be
won the
wearing the
Natty.
ring right
Yeah,
now.
he'd
He
be
would have to decide which finger to put the third ring on.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move past that.
I'm gonna let that slide for today because we don't have the time for me to just
Uh,
roast you for what you just said.
but we will
But
revisit
Uh,
that. We've got it on.
do whatever you want.
We've got it on
Stetson
video
Bennett
now.
overthrown that ball a lot,
so
and it reminded me a lot of Stetson Bennett. Just saying.
until Carson Beck walked in the building and played every game and played phenomenally this season, you know who was the all-time most accurate quarterback in Georgia history?
Staquavius.
Staquavius Bennett, the fourth.
He set the record. So your
And where is he now?
completion percentage.
Making
So
millions
that
in the
means you're accurate.
pros.
That means
You
you're
know,
accurate.
he's not in the pros.
Oh,
Oh,
he
he
signed
still
the
is.
contract.
He's still getting paid.
Yeah.
Eh,
He's still
but
on
he's
the
not
roster.
playing.
It don't
He's not
matter.
playing.
Give me
That's
the
be
check. I'll stand there on the sidelines and say, "Go team."
Mm.
I'm still part
He's
of the
not even a
team.
part of the team anymore because he's such an alcoholic.
All right, let's not delve into this crap. Seriously, there's no point in attacking somebody personally about crap you don't even know about.
true.
Let's
So
not do that. I'm serious. That's uncalled for.
yeah. But back to Monday night. So I think Michigan we can attack as much as we want to because there where there's smoke, there's fire. So they pull off this win, they go 15-0. Harbaugh is talking about, oh, we did it, we overcame so much, we were innocent, and we've believed that, we still believe that. Come on, man. Like
It's
there's
like
no
he believes his own lies at this point.
you if you tell
You say
yourself a
it so many
lie.
times. You say it so many times that eventually you start believing it.
Like, and he's gone. Like, all the reports are he's gone. So why does he care if he's innocent?
Yeah, he might be the next coach of the Falcons, actually,
He could be,
because
which
I definitely think he wants to go back to the NFL because even if he stays at Michigan, I think he may not actually be allowed to coach next year.
no, he absolutely will be. I'm not going to say banned, but he will be suspended for the entire season, if not longer, if once the NCAA investigations, plural, finish. Um, but, you know, Michigan wins 34-13, kind of going away. They kind of flexed. They were the more physical team. They
And we
um
expected that. We
yeah,
definitely expected that. And I think your word was Michigan has a lot of dudes.
yep,
Okay. They had dudes. Their dudes played better than Washington's dudes.
yep.
Washington's
But
dudes,
they're
some
about to
were
lose all of
hurt.
them too.
Washington's dudes looked injured, kind of like they reminded me of Georgia in the SEC championship game. Some of their best players were hobbling around the field, just gutting it out, trying to do the best they could. Um,
So to be
but
fair, maybe it wasn't a fair fight, but you're on the field, you had your chance, you didn't get it done.
Gotta play.
you got to play the game. So, but like I said, Penix had play similar to what his game looked like against Texas for Washington to have a chance to upset Michigan. And that did not happen. And once you saw that wasn't happening, I mean, Washington's chance pretty much evaporated at that point. Um,
Yep.
because I mean, Michigan, I mean, shoot, the first two touchdowns were like 40 and 50-yard runs, right?
Yeah.
They weren't even passes, they were just runs, and they broke free and God took them to the house. Um, so when they were running the ball like that, at that point, you got to hope it's track meet and you score more than they do. Because,
Right.
but then Washington, I'll give Washington's defense credit. After those first two, they locked them down a little bit and they made it difficult for Michigan to score much more than that. I mean, that game could have gotten away in the first half very, very easily from them.
But it
But those
was
guys
Ryan,
showed on the defensive side, they buckled in, buckled their chin straps down, and they played a tough game. I'll give them all the credit for,
Washington's
and
defense
their
did a
offense
really good job.
didn't. Yeah, their defense for I don't know the middle two quarters at least they uh they played them really well. And if Washington's offense could have held their own, it would have been a much closer game at least. But Washington's offense just had no answers. That I think Penix got spooked a little bit or something. I don't know, but he just was off. His timing was off. He was throwing high, and it just didn't work. So once you saw that, the writing was basically on the wall for their chances.
yeah, the stark difference. Penix, we went over Penix's line from the previous game. It was like 28 of 34, 455 yards, four touchdowns, no picks. Um, the national championship game, very different. 27 of 51,
They threw it
255,
51 times. That tells you a
51
lot.
times because
Any
they were
game you throw
behind.
it 50 times, you're probably not going to win
Right. They were trying to
because you're
catch
you're
up.
trying to catch up, and that usually doesn't end well.
Um, one touchdown, two picks. But what kills me is, man, and people were singing his praises, and I don't understand it. It's like Bo Nix. I don't get it. JJ McCarthy, dude, he completed 10 passes in the game. He threw for 140 freaking yards in the national championship, and people are like, oh, he's so
All
great.
they did was
No,
run the ball.
no. Like, he's not going
Well,
to be a
that's all
good
they
NFL
had to
quarterback.
do. They found out very quickly in that game that their running game wasn't going to be able to be stopped.
Oh, I
And when
know.
you figure that out as an offensive coordinator, why in the world are you going to throw it?
but
There's no
So
need
you
when
got
you're
a
running.
NFL quarterback.
They were averaging 12 yards a rush in the first half.
yeah,
So
and
you're getting a first down every time you hand the ball off. There's no
yeah,
reason to do anything else. No
exactly.
reason.
There's no reason to do anything else. Corum had 21 carries for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. He could have had more.
And
Um,
Don Edwards, how much? What was his stat line? He
He
ran the
had two
ball just as
TDs.
well. He had the 2 long TDs to start.
Edwards had, let me see, because I just show the leaders. There we go. Edwards had 6 carries for 104 yards and
Six
two T
carries, 104 yards. Dude
Two of
averaged
them,
20 yards a carry just about.
two of
17.
his 6 carries were 90, like 95 yards.
Yeah.
Right. But still, 6 carries over 100 yards and 2 TDs. And then the
And
other guy had how many carries? 21
21.
for how many yards?
134.
So between the two of them, they had 220 something yards. And Michigan had over 300 yards of rushing offense. You get 300 yards of rushing against the team, I almost guarantee you're winning that game.
Yep.
There's almost no way to lose if you get 300 yards of rushing.
They ran the ball 38 times for 303 yards. 8 yards per rush.
Yeah, I was going to say off the top of my head, that's almost 10 yards rush. It's a first down
Four
every time you run the ball.
four TDs. And they only scored 34 points. And I say only because they scored all of them on the ground. McCarthy didn't, I'm
The
not
others were
saying
field goals, right?
yeah, he didn't
The others,
have to throw the ball, but he also didn't show to me in the two semifinal like games, the semifinal and the championship, the two best games
oh,
of the season.
that's another thing about Stetson. If Stetson were playing that game, he would have been the offensive MVP again. Just
No
like it
doubt.
was the other 4 times that he played in a college football playoff game, the semifinal and the final. He was the
So
MVP.
if we want to crap on somebody, it's JJ McCarthy. You won a natty, bro, and you got carried to it. Carried.
He's the epitome of what you say Stetson was, just running the show. He got bailed out by his defense, blah blah, or his running game.
His QBR was 58.
Yeah, pull up Stetson's stats for the 2 national championship games and see what they're like. No, don't do
Penix
that.
Penix was getting battered and
Matthews is
threw
getting bombed. He looks like he lost his best friend over there or something.
Penix was getting battered. He threw 2 interceptions and his QBR was better than McCarthy's.
No,
63. Because he actually threw a dadgum touchdown. He actually had to throw the ball. He threw for 255 yards.
and that wasn't
So
a very good game of his, to be honest. I mean, it just
He still
wasn't.
was better than the one who won it.
And that's you're making our point. That's what Mike is saying. JJ McCarthy,
I don't see him as an NFL quarterback. I just don't see it.
He'll be a
Maybe
practice squad.
maybe he, you know, gets in the right situation and has a strong running game or something and is successful. More power to him. He's playing
He'll,
Division I college football. I can't do that. But I just don't see the translation to the pros.
you know who he reminds me of a little bit? Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A
I
little
mean,
smaller.
ultimate leader, you know, can throw well.
He's accurate.
He's accurate,
He was 10 of 18.
but especially Jake's freshman year when we went to the national championship with him at quarterback,
Nobody thought,
we didn't ask him to do much
yeah.
because we had Sony Michelle and Nick Chubb in the backfield,
Oh,
and we had a really good defense.
Yep.
So
With
you ride the
Really good
Roquan,
strength,
defense.
you ride your strengths of your defense, and you got a freshman quarterback. You're not going to ask him to do too much. When he needed to make plays, he made some plays. But he
Yeah,
just
but we're
man,
talking about someone who's a senior,
no,
not a
he's a
freshman.
junior.
he's a
He's a junior.
red shirt junior.
So
So
he's a
technically a
junior.
senior. Should be a
So
senior.
It to I guess put a bow on it. The most dominant team in the playoff won the whole thing. So a if you're a fan of the playoff getting it right, I guess that could be one of your arguments is the best team going in won it all, right? The team that was undefeated throughout the whole season has a lot of dudes that are going to get drafted. We'll see if they match or break Georgia's record here in a few months. Um, I have my doubts that it'll be quite that many. I guess JJ will get drafted, but he's not going to be a first rounder. I don't think that. But it's just draft picks, right? So if he gets drafted, that helps their chances of breaking Georgia's record. Um, but Michigan did what they were supposed to, despite all the outside noise.
yeah,
Um,
they played their game. They won every single game they played. You
None of
know,
which were really that close, except for the Alabama game.
right. And that one went to overtime. So congratulations to the Wolverines. You won your national championship.
I know.
You know, there's a lot of memes going around where there's the Michigan national championship logo and it's got the little star beside the little asterisk by it. Time will
And
tell if that asterisk sticks there or not. I guess we'll find out.
a lot of people are going to feel that way, right? And rightfully so. I mean, you can try to gain advantages, and then you can just flat out cheat. And I think they crossed that line. So
Yeah.
time will tell. But kudos to them. They didn't have their coach for half their season. They still won. They had multiple interim coaches. They have a really great staff there. They have a lot of good players. Some are great, and they got it done. So congrats to them. Now they probably take a big step back next year because I think Harbaugh's gone, and they're going to just lose too much
Their
off
whole
this
team's
team.
gone.
And they didn't replace it with a whole bunch. Their recruiting class wasn't even in the top 10 if I recall. So to me, if you're going to rebuild and reload, if you're not going to rebuild and you're just reloading for the next season, rather, you got to have a top 10 recruiting class and probably top five year in and year out and just keep it
Well, if
going.
you have a top 10 recruiting class and you're in the SEC, well, they're not. But if you are in the SEC, you might be fourth or fifth in the SEC and be in the top 10. That's not the case for them being in the Big Ten, but still, you're ultimate in at the end of the season, you're ultimately got to compete against these SEC teams, though.
Yep.
So, and even more so next year when we go to the 12-team playoff and stuff.
I can't
I think
wait.
I think you're almost guaranteed at least three SEC teams make it to 12-team playoff.
I think
You know,
four.
I mean, there's always a chance, but that they would put four in because of the rankings and stuff like that. But um, I I can almost guarantee you at least three teams are going to be in it almost every year.
Well, and
And
three Big Ten teams will make it too. because you've got Oregon and Washington coming over, you got Ohio State and Michigan. That's four right there that are vying for it every year right now anyway.
Well, they
So
vied for it this year. Pac-12 teams have not has been very dominant and very
viable.
yeah. When you're talking about the Final Four college football playoff teams, you know they've been in it every once in a while. They've had a team qualify every once in a while. It's just funny that the kind of bookends of the 14 playoff. The first year, um, Ohio State wins it. The last year of it, Michigan wins it. Everywhere else in between, I think it's the SEC team besides Clemson.
And I,
So,
I don't see that slowing down.
I mean, it's not. It's going to be the same.
Well, do we have any final thoughts to wrap it up tonight?
No, it's just crazy that another college football season's completely finished and in the books. It's one that's going to be talked about, I think, for a, a while down the line, because of different stories coming from it and stuff like that. And but yeah, it's time to reload, regroup, and get ready. Start getting ready for 20 season in 2024.
Yep.
No, it's just playoffs for the NFL now. That's the only football we got. And then soon after that will be baseball. Well,
So,
I think
and
that starts in April or something.
let's wrap this up because right now, a little update here. We got Georgia basketball having their home SEC opener tonight. Micah, you should have gone over to the game, man.
Oh yeah, would
Um,
have liked to. I need to.
it's halftime. They're up 34-24. So
Oh,
if they can hold on and win that game against Arkansas, they'll be 2-0 in the SEC to start off the conference slate. That'll be and 12-3 overall on the season. So
It's good.
it's
They've turned
good. And
around a lot.
that Mike White has been doing a good job. And I saw a couple of tweets or whatever you call them now, since it's X, it's not Twitter. I guess they're still tweets. I don't know, but it's hard for us old folk to keep up with the lingo.
I don't
But
even have it, so
but who's the guy Lenardi or whatever, I think, that does the bracketology on
hmm
ESPN?
yep.
He put out a new after the games Saturday, the latest version of his bracketology, and Georgia was in the first four teams out.
So right there on the cusp.
So I mean, you don't get any closer than that to actually making the tournament. And if you would have told anybody that was a Georgia fan, hey, we're going to be in the conversation to make the NCAA tournament this season in Mike White's second year, you would
good.
take it in a heartbeat. So hopefully they keep playing well and stacking up some W's, and maybe they will actually make the tournament.
I will go ahead and say if they make the tournament, I will definitely be very surprised, but also, I would love to try to get to wherever that game is. So, that hasn't happened very much for Georgia basketball. Hopefully it becomes the norm with Mike White at the helm. Matthew, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I think I'm good. Y'all hit the points pretty well. I think I'm good.
Well, it was fun. Again, we had another good conversation tonight. As always, if you guys out there, thank you for watching whenever you do. Thank you for the support. Keep liking it, sharing it, subscribing, um, turning on the notifications so that you know when we're going on. Because it's been a little inconsistent lately with the holidays, but we're going to try to keep our schedule, and we should be seeing you again on Friday to talk some more off-season news and updates surrounding Alabama, Georgia, whatever's happening with all the fallout from Nick Saban retiring, because I know there's going to be a lot of player movement and coaching the coaching movement isn't over either. So, um, thank you guys. We enjoyed it as always. And everyone take care, stay safe, and go dogs.
Go dogs!
Gross.